Well, Congressman Byron Donalds naming former State Senator Bryan Avila his running mate today, making waves in Florida's governor's race.
Our Florida Bureau Chief Matt Hoffman live outside the governor's office right now. Matt, so what role does this lieutenant governor really play?
Yeah, I like to think of it kind of like the vice president. They don't have any official duties, but should something happen to the governor, well, the number 2 then becomes the top official in the whole state. At the end of the day, the lieutenant governor does not preside over the Senate, and they don't act as a cabinet member. They have one job: stay available and support the governor. Bryan Avila says he's ready to take that role.
My parents fled communist Cuba and left behind their home and their business because they knew what happens when government takes over.
The state senator resigned Tuesday to run for lieutenant governor. His name will automatically be added to your ballot. A Hialeah native, he also served in the National Guard and helped shepherd the property tax cut proposal through the Senate.
I've also commanded soldiers who answered the call to serve our communities. Those experiences teach you something that you cannot learn simply behind the desk.
Democrat David Jolly picked Gwen Graham to be his running mate, in part because she used to be in Congress and she's the daughter of former Governor Bob Graham.
Be working for the people of Florida and making their lives better. Policy matters, leadership matters, the people you elect matters.
Unlike vice presidents, lieutenant governors normally don't hold campaign debates, but once elected, they can handle any public policies the governor would like.
People have good ideas across the party line, but you've got to be able to work together to come up with the absolute best policies, and that's what we are going to do, so y'all's lives.
Now, the lieutenant governor is not the most prestigious job. For example, our current lieutenant governor, was appointed. That's because the last lieutenant governor went on to be the president of Florida International University. For now, at the state capitol, I'm Matt Hoffman, WCTV Eyewitness News.
70 days to go until that general election night. Thank you so much, Matt.